select board meeting for November 10th to order at 7:03.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
could I have a moment before you start? I'll be very quick.
yes.
So I'm sure everybody knows that tomorrow is Veterans Day, federal holiday to honor all Americans who have served in the armed services. And I would like to ask our chairman, who is on Zoom and just got a new knee, if he and Mike Jones and any other veterans that are with us tonight could please stand and be recognized for your service to our country.
Dick, you can't stand.
Well, I can't stand.
What's your name, sir?
Gordy Tiff,
Gordy Tiff's also here.
United States Army.
And Bob McIntyre.
Bob McIntyre in the back.
U.S. Marine Corps back there.
Yep.
Happy birthday to the Marine Corps today. Too bad we forgot the crayons.
Thank you.
Okay, we need a, Bob McIntyre, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda for November 10th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve the minutes for October 27th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Mary Lee?
No.
I do.
Go ahead.
Let's see here. Citizens' comments. The first line, M. McIntyre said the Friends fundraiser Fall Night Out was a success. 5,000 raised, and it was a learning experience. I should say 5,000 was raised. Second line in that same paragraph from the bottom, very generous people, now at $56,000. Should say something like, very generous people have gotten the whatever up to 56,000, however you want to word it. The how much Friends of Rec has raised so far. Police Department update on page 2. Third line down, M. Jones asked how much time this consumes. We should probably say M. Jones asked how much time mental health complaints consume the officers. 2 lines from that, criminal, and then there's a blank. I think that should say criminal arrests are up from 3 last month. Stormwater discussion, Crystal Haven. Someone blank.
Wait a minute, where are you?
Page, I'm sorry.
I got it, stormwater discussion?
Yeah, Crystal Haven.
All right.
Someone, it says someone asked about the seawall and noted the engineers recommended a bigger size. So it should say Tom Kearns asked about the seawall and then noted the engineers recommended a bigger size pipe. That's all I had.
Anybody else?
I'm good.
I'm good too.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Citizens' comments. Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move on to board recording administrative assistant. I think that's your, that's a cue for you, Mike.
It is, thank you. So we did have somebody that was going to, that agreed to start as the recording secretary administrative assistant. And as of late this afternoon, we still could not reach them, so they have not signed an agreement, so we technically, they're not an employee at this point, so might be on the hunt again. So that's it. This was to be able to introduce the person, but they're not here.
I guess we keep looking.
Yeah,
That's an advertised position.
it is.
Okay, rec department update?
Micah's here.
Hello, Select Board. Micah, Barshay, Recreation Coordinator and Facilitator, here with your recreation update for November. So the most noticeable change is my office. I am starting to move the stuff from the back office in the library up to the front of the building, which has really helped to really increase the visibility of the position and just kind of being there more available for other people's questions, and people are really appreciative of just being able to stop by, so stop by at any time you want. I usually try to keep candy in the bowl and try to keep things pretty light in there. On the programming side, my updates are regarding basketball. We're looking at offering a K-2 clinic. As of this afternoon, we have 19 people registered for that. The goal of this program is more to teach youth the basics of basketball, geared more towards kindergarten and second grade. The clinic days will be a combination of skills, drills, and scrimmages. We're charging $30 for residents and $40 for non-residents. And the big exciting thing is they're going to have a take-home t-shirt, which we're really hoping will help to promote more of the program and the great work that we're going to be doing. These are going to take place on Mondays from 5 to 6 p.m. starting in December. We've sent a job description over to the university for a clinic coordinator to see if there's any interest over there. But as of right now, we also have 3 parent volunteers that are interested. Brittany Bain, John St. Clair, and Sarah Taylor have stepped up to volunteer for those for the K-2 clinic. On the girls basketball side, started for grades 3 and 4, we have 11 people registered. For this program, this is the first time that there'll be games against other towns introduced. But we're still working on improving those skills. Practices for them will be on Wednesdays from 5 to 6, with games still being finalized, but most of them are going to be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Price for this one is residents are $40 and non-residents are $50. And it's a little bit more of a more higher price because we're paying for refs. In addition to having practices, they also have games mixed in there, and they also get their take-home uniform. Season running from December 3rd to March 28th, and the coaches for that are Hannah McCullen, Vicky Looms, and Mandy Daly. And then...
Wait, can I stop you for a second?
Go for it.
What were the dates on the K through 2? When does that start?
Yes.
I might have missed it. You probably said
No,
it.
it's all right. I'm happy to repeat that. I'm speaking quickly. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
December 1st to March 23rd.
Starts December 1st to March 23rd?
Yep, and there'll be
Okay.
some breaks in there for holidays, like MLK Day, and the Christmas holidays as well.
That's for the younger kids.
That's for the younger kids.
Okay.
Yep.
Where will they find this information? It'll be on the calendar?
Right now, it's all on HAGOV, and we're going to getting it up on the calendar as well. Any other questions before I jump into boys?
No, go ahead.
For boys basketball, right now we have 4 people registered, so a little bit of a smaller number for them right now. Again, same goals as the girls. This is their first competitive games against other towns, but we're still working on improving those skills. Monday's practices from 6:15 to 7:15. And then the games are again still being finalized, but most are being on Saturdays from 10 to 11. So the girls will be from 9 to 10, and the boys will be from 10 to 11. Same price as the girls, $40 for non-residents and $50 for non-residents with that take-home jersey. And then the coach for that right now is Cal Leffer. I apologize if I'm pronouncing these incorrectly. And we're still looking for some additional head coaches or some assistant coaches to support him in case he is unable to make it. For winter pickleball right now, we're looking at Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 11:30 and Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8:30. And we're still working exactly how that will look for this season, but those time blocks from, again, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 11:30 and Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8:30. In addition to the current base programs we have, we're looking at a number of different rental opportunities, including Slate Valley Unified School District, their track team, Fairhaven Youth Basketball using our space, and then adult pickup basketball for some additional rentals, and we're constantly getting more and more inquiries. It's just more of sitting down, looking at the calendar, and seeing where we can fit those people in. Some additional projects is continuing some partnership work with the university, adding those additional rentals as there's room. And then also looking for building monitors, because with more building use, we are going to need people to kind of keep an eye on the space and making sure everybody's following those rules. So we're hoping that we can find those in the university. It's a great job that we feel like we can fill there, but if there's other people that are interested in the community, we're looking for those. We've started the search for some registration and facility management software, again, trying to focus on being able to look at a calendar and being able to tell when facilities are available, but then also be able to have ease of registration and a number of different statistical stuff that we can do with that registration software. In addition, meeting residents and stakeholders in more kind of casual meetings and just kind of introducing myself and getting to know their needs as well. And then I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks to start even planning for summer 2026, meeting with the directors of summer camp and just kind of having that wash and being able to figure out what went well and where we can improve. And I think that is it. I know I spoke really quickly, but what questions do you guys have for me that can help to answer?
Micah, and maybe you've already thought about this, last year, I think we had a few things, but we missed a couple. I hope you're looking at being able to have some open gym time during the school holidays.
Yep, so we're looking at open gym operating under the rentals, that we would have somebody that would be our point person, that we'd be able to, that would lead it, that they would fill out the agreement, say these are the days I want to do it, they would pay us that rental fee, and we'll hand over the keys after a background check. So we're looking at doing it more in the rental category.
We'll talk more about that one. I have an idea on that one. Where it's not, it's more of a open, when they say open, what the price may be to come in and use it, but it has to be managed because they can't play volleyball and basketball at the same time. And, you know, there are things that can't go on concurrently, so.
Yeah, I know that's a big project. I'm just hoping that for that time when kids are not in school, we can provide something for them to do.
I think we're gonna have them build a pump track down at Dewey Field.
Perfect.
We're gonna teach them all how to shovel.
Get some blisters going, yeah.
But Micah's been doing a great job, just, you know, picking up on the nuances of what happens in our town and trying to meet with people, problem solve, and not everybody's gonna like everything that we say or do, but we're trying to make it so that we can accommodate the most amount of people that we can, get the word out to the buildings here, and if they use it one time and they have a positive experience, they might want to use it again or spread word of mouth. So it's just, we got to kind of work together, and again, not everybody's gonna be happy about everything, but that's what we get paid to do. So we'll field complaints and try to work through them the best we can.
Everything's a work in progress. Yeah, Micah, I appreciate your hard work. I know it's got to be difficult to come into a new town where you don't get the nuances of how everything works, but you've done a great job getting yourself going, so
Appreciate
keep up the good work.
I appreciate the support of the select board as well.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Micah?
There's some questions.
Micah, thank you very much for that excellent report. Appreciate it.
Questions out in the audience?
There's some questions from the gallery, Mr. Chairman. But
Okay.
you'll have to come up here, we just won't be able to hear you. And if I'm doing the minutes, I can't hear you if you're standing right in front of me.
Hi, I'm Lori Kamuta. I've been a member of the Friends of Castleton Parks and Recs since the beginning of it. And when I heard about a new rec director coming on, I was really excited because to hear about what his vision would be for developing rec in our community. He also went to the same college I did, and it's a college that is very well known for its recreation department, and so I felt he's going to have some really great ideas and goals for recreation. I did see him today to talk about a pickleball clinic that we're hoping to do, because there's an interest in the community to get people learning how to play the game. So Mary McIntyre and I went to meet with him today. And at that meeting, we were kind of informed about a new approach, which has to do with any person doing a program is going to now be, it's going to be, in the space used in here, going to be a rental agreement, and that person, like the leader in charge of that program, is going to take care of the registration, the fees, the liability forms. And so number one, I guess, from my perspective, I felt that sounds like me, a role of a rec director. We already have asked a lot of our volunteers, people not only for pickleball, set up and clean up and fundraise and do program clinics for free. I felt that that was something that really should be a role of the rec director. And I guess what concerns me is the new role is maybe being more of a building manager, and I think that takes away from his ability to shape what programs are coming into the building. If you're just looking at, who's going to pay money to be in here, we may not be able to serve all of our community. It may be just a limited few that are going to organize to use some of these spaces, and how do we dictate how many times they can use that space? Or I'm just concerned that I don't know that he's really had that chance yet to get a feel from this community what they're looking for. What do they want from recreation? And are we going to serve them all if we just say, this is kind of a rental space and whoever gets first dibs gets first dibs? And maybe it all becomes just pickleball, which, though I love pickleball, not everybody in this town wants to play pickleball. We should have that gym available for other activities. And I think he needs to hear from the community what those are before we start just saying, okay, you're going to use this space and you've got the money to do it. I know we were just talking about the open gym. We provided that very cheap last year for the neighborhood kid who wants to come shoot some hoops. Is that kid still going to be able to get in if all of a sudden all the time spaces are locked into somebody else who got in and said, I want it that hour or 2 hours or whatever? I just feel like we're losing control of what happens in this building. We want to shape what recreation is in this town. We should have a philosophy of what recreation is. And are we going to be sure that everybody coming in here has that same philosophy or is being inclusive? Maybe it's just the same, maybe we end up serving 50 people. Maybe they might be out-of-towners even. I mean, not that I'm not against out-of-towners, but we might need to make sure that everybody in the community feels heard about what they'd like to see for recreation and has an opportunity to have a program that fits them, whether they're 2 years old or they're 95 years old. And I think if we're having issues with Hay-Gov and those kind of things, there's other wonderfully run rec departments in surrounding towns. Maybe we can learn from them. How do they do this? How do they make this work? I just hope that we can, I just think by kind of privatizing what's happening here, we're losing the fact that recreation, what our goals are. I know as friends of rec, our goal is to have, this something for everyone, to try to meet the needs of everyone and to build a sense of community. And I think we lose that opportunity to do that when we just are more of a building we're just renting. So that's basically what I wanted to say, and I hope you'll consider that as some thoughts about what this community is expecting from this recreation department and maybe what they're expecting from our recreation director as well. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
You're welcome.
can I speak?
You want to speak to that, Mike? I mean, you and I had a brief conversation about that this afternoon, and we're rethinking some of those thoughts, aren't we?
Yeah, Lori, I appreciate your comments, but I don't think that they're all accurate, so I want to clarify what we talked about. If it's a rec-sponsored program, like pickleball, we consider that. Mike, and I'm not sure if Micah met with you before or after we spoke. But when Mike left today, we said if it's rec-sponsored, then we'll continue to do what we're doing, like registrations through Hay-Gov. It's those one-off programs where somebody comes in and wants to do yoga, and they're making money off it. Like, it's not a rec-sponsored type thing. It's like they come in and make money off it. And we had a meeting with one of those people today, and we're going to work through. We talked about rentals, we talked about cost sharing, and when we last spoke, last meeting, that I am so against cost sharing because there just seems to be no consistency with it. And I think people want consistency. I know that Mary McIntyre stood up in front of everybody last meeting and said, change the ordinance to make sure it's consistent in the language. And so I think it should carry over, into the other things. But the open gym, when I said to Micah, so we'll say an open meeting, we have not, he and I have not talked about open gym in any kind of detail. But what I would envision with open gym is we announce it to the public saying, here is this time frame that it's open if you want to come in and do something. And I don't know what that will be at this point, because you can't have some things competing against each other. Somebody's playing baseball, you're not going to be able to play pickleball, or wiffle ball, not baseball. So we'll have to work through those, but that's what I would envision as open gym is like, it's a set time frame. We announce it. We have people here that keep the building open, for people that want to come in and do what they can in the gym. We're talking about the gym space. Sorry, Lori, there's a lot to unpack there. I'm just trying to remember. I wrote some notes here. I didn't know you went to the same college as Micah. That's cool. But as far as the building, this is not a gun for hire. So if that word is out there, we need to squash it, because that's not what we're asking for. That's not what I directed him. What I said was to solicit programming, and some of this stuff people will come way in advance and say, I want to do a 6-week program. We can't wait until the week prior to that to say, yes, you're good to go, because we're waiting for someone else to come in and do something else. We have to seize the moment and so they have the time to put the word out there, to get people to sign up for it, because we're going to end up having to put that stuff into HAGov. So when we talked today about those people that were for profit, they're coming in here making money off it, is like they're going to rent the space and then they can charge what they want. They can, we don't have to worry about that. And they collect the money and they just pay for their rental. And one of them was the eccentrics class. So we still have to we have to flush that out, and Micah will confirm. I talked to the lady today and said, we're willing to work with you. We'll try to figure a way through it, but I want to be consistent. And so that some person doesn't come back and say, you treated me this way, I want the same deal that person got, and then we get the rec coordinator into some argument about, or conflict about how we charge somebody. So that's what we left today, but there's no gun for hire here. We're not trying to kick people out to make money or just ask that people come in here to make money. So I want to make sure that that's very clear, that that's not our intent. If you have anything to add, Micah?
The meeting with Ms. Lori took place before our discussion.
Okay. So that explains it, because I was thinking, I just had that conversation with Micah, and I know that he's a smart guy, so yeah. That was discussed and squashed there.
Yeah.
Bob, we won't be able to hear you back there, sorry.
One thing. Bob McIntyre, Castleton, Vermont, volunteer. So with the high school track team, I know that they've requested that opportunity to come out here and have time in the gym. Now, will we be asking them for a donation of some kind? And the other thing that I'd like to ask is that their throwers are not really actually throwing the puts here in the gym. Because last year they put a pretty good couple dents in the wall back there. So if you would just ask them to be careful of that, that would be great.
We met with their athletic director about it. He acknowledged that there was some errant throws that happened last year, and that they had committed to putting extra padding up to make sure that if there's some errant thing that happens. But they're also going to sign a contract with us, and if they damage anything, they're going to have to fix it. That's part of the agreement.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
Anything else pertinent to the rec department update? If not, we're going to move on to the Recreation and Activity Center maintenance update.
Okay, that's me.
So the town manager again.
Just an update on what's going on. We've had problems in the building with the heat. McClure Construction knows about it. I've had conversations with Paul. He was down here. These heat exchangers, the blower motors, he's got one more to install. It's open back there. The place that we're renting to the fire district, that heater exchanger was off, so it was really cold in there, so he's coming down to troubleshoot that to figure out what was wrong with it, or what is wrong with it. And we know that there's things blowing cold air, we know it's gonna get really cold, so nobody has to tell me that, I know that. But I'm at the mercy right now of his schedule, and it's that time of year, so he's down 2 people, so I'm not gonna switch horses in midstream unless it's an emergency, because you do that, if you shop this around, next time I ask someone to do something,
Nobody's gonna wanna do
they're
it.
not wanna do it.
And there's no other horses.
Yeah, well, maybe that won't even do it as timely as he does, so, so we're aware of what's going on. The Fabians, I'm waiting for Brad Kendall to get back to me from Fabians on when they're gonna dig up that, corner to, expose where the water leak probably is coming from in the gym and seal that. Again, they're at the end of their year closing up projects, so we came in too late in the game, so, excuse me, we're still actively working with them to get it done.
In worst case scenario, if they can't deal with it this year, we can just keep the snow away from it, right?
We're gonna have to keep the snow away from that corner. And I've already had that conversation with the highway foreman and with the parking here. If people are parking, like the fire district will be parking out here, I have to put something out there, those bumpers so they don't get underneath the roof line and have the snow come down on their car, because both those roofs dump into that area. So our paint sprayer machine is up and running. I went and got the paint and a new nozzle, so we're gonna, once the rain will let up, we're gonna actually paint lines that keep people back and put some, they have to be able to clear of snow, so I can't put stuff in there that's gonna impede them from clearing the snow. At least it'll be wide enough for the skid steer to get through there and scoop out the snow, and put all the parking lines out here. So we're just waiting for the weather on that one. I had a contractor come in and look at one of the bathrooms. I want to convert one of the bathrooms to be ADA compliant, because now we have a lot of people from the public in here, and if someone comes in here for an event and they're in any kind of mobility device, like a wheelchair, they won't be able to use our restrooms. So
Yeah, we gotta fix that.
So I reached out to three other contractors and trying to get them here at the same time, so they hear what we're asking for all at the same time, and they bidding on apples to
Same
apples.
job, yeah. I can't believe the school didn't have it like that.
Existing, and I had the Division of Fire Safety in here last Friday, along with a contractor, and the good news that I got out of it, because I was sweating that one out, that if they take a permit out for doing that project, they're not going to the rest of the building to find out all the other things that are wrong. So it's just the space that would be modified. So that was good news. So we're moving forward with that, just to get that, what the cost would be to put an ADA compliant bathroom in. It's gonna cost a little bit of money, because right now I'll use the term two-holers. There's two toilets, and they want to take those stalls and convert into one stall with a 5-foot suite that they can turn a wheelchair in. And so there's gonna be a hole in the floor where one of the toilets existed, so we're gonna have to do some work to fix that and cover it back up. And in a lot of the bathrooms, there's a little tile, so we're gonna have some work done there, but I'll know more once I get the contractors in here to look at it. Barring your questions on the building, the thermostat, sorry. Talked to Paul today. There's a thermostat, he installed the thermostat in the gym last year, and there was supposed to be one that was supposed to be sent out to be rebuilt. No one knows where that's at, and these things, they don't make them anymore, that's why they're rebuilding them. And to change all of them over to new ones would be pretty darn expensive. So there's a website where you can go and find these. I gotta call John Alexander and find out what site it was. And they sometimes carry them on the shelf, and you can purchase them, and then you can replace it, send the old one back, and they'll rebuild it, and we play that game. But again, not lost on it, know what's going on, Paul's aware of it. We just gotta get to the point where we can pull one off the wall, and if we have to, and send it, and that room will be down thermostat at that point. But didn't really want to do that in the midst of July and February, and January, February. But we'll find, he said there's one here, so we just gotta find it.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
can you find out specifically what make, model, manufacturer, et cetera, of that thermostat is? And since I'm confined to quarters right now, I would have
Dick's got some time on his hands there to.
Okay, I can do that. I made a note.
Yeah, and then I can do I can do a dive into the internet and see if I can find a source for this, or or see if there's any potential help you can get with that.
Okay. I appreciate
And we
that.
can at least find out what vendor it is that may or may not have some rebuilt units on the shelf.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be happy to help.
All right, appreciate it.
So anything else on the update on the maintenance of the building?
Negative.
Okay, then we're gonna move on to winter blend diesel report or award. So, seems to me we only have one bid. What's your recommendation, Mr. Town Manager?
I think we should go with the one bid. It's a fixed price from Champlain Valley Fuels at $275 fixed, 70% kerosene with 30, or it's supposed to be blended 30% kerosene, I think, and 70% diesel, right?
That would be
No.
correct, yes.
I think that-
Usually,
is it more kerosene than it is diesel?
usually it starts out September, October, you'd be 30% kerosene.
Yeah.
And by the coldest part of the year, you'd be 70% kerosene.
I
So
thought it was the other way around, but.
this is the coldest mix they make, coldest weather mix they make.
So that's what, the other two that I called, they didn't want, one of them didn't want to bid, and one of them, they do the same thing, they'll say, they want to know, how many gallons do you need? Then they'll put fuel in the truck, and then they'll blend in whatever the lesser amount is, whether it's kerosene or diesel, and that's how they'll deliver it. So you get a true 70-30 blend, and the one I called, they will not do a fixed rate, they only did
Price over rack.
over rack, and I sent you that information, it was more than this, so this is the
That's
low
a really
bid.
good price. The
Yeah.
kerosene's more than the diesel.
It was $3.69 a gallon for kerosene.
Yep.
So this is the low bid, and we've worked with all of them before, so I wouldn't hesitate to recommend the
We
board.
need gallons or no? It's not on here anywhere, I don't.
No, because we'll end up stopping the blend in the spring. So the thing holds 8,000 gallons. I think in the past, I don't want to maybe misquoted on it, but I think we put 10,000 gallons on our list.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I didn't have to put it in.
No, I wouldn't put it in there, because if we have a bad winter, we can blow through that.
Make a motion to award Champlain Valley Fuels the bid for the winter diesel for $2.75 a gallon.
Second.
So moving second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you. Thank you.
So we'll have a quick discussion on East and West Crystal Haven stormwater mitigation. I asked the town manager to have some local excavators come over and take a look at it and make their recommendations, and I believe there was a site visit, and Mike, you may have an update on that?
I provided everybody with a copy of Jeff's notes. It was one of those visits where it's not a very sexy job to do all that. It's a lot of small things they've got to do, and most contractors like to just plow through things and move on. This is going to take a little finesse, and they kind of laughed and said, "I think you guys are crazy." I didn't disagree with that, but we still have to do something. So I wanted the orders to Jeff were, the board wanted something back showing what the cost would be and what the treatment would be, and that's our job, is to get that. You guys will direct us from there. So they met up there, they had several contractors, and you could see what was put in there, but they're estimating it could be $50,000 to $70,000 range. One of the things they did say is that the pipe that goes through the seawall at Kearns' property, they're not gonna be able to buy one that goes the same diameter as that. So there's going to be something done, either it's gonna be smaller or bigger. And the way there's like a V split on top of the wall. One of the contractors said, if we try messing with this, we're gonna break that. And then they're gonna have to cut it, pin it, put a form and pour new concrete. The other thing was the patio. They're gonna have to dig through that part of that patio, so that would have to be reset. But the biggest thing they said was that where that catch basin is, where the culvert goes underneath West Crystal Haven from the big long ditch to the east, that's ledge that comes down right there, and I'm like, I don't care, that's a problem statement, it's not my problem. Just have them give us the quote to do the job, and then we'll decide if it's not economical or not feasible. So then I said, I spoke to Jeff afterwards and said, we have a hammer now. Why can't we go up there and explore a little bit and see, is there true like deep ledge right there? Because it kind of tapers off right there. And I'm like, so they're gonna do that. They're gonna go up there and punch around with that new hammer we have and see how fragile that stone is. A lot of it's exposed, so it becomes kind of deteriorates easy. But if we want the Hillary Solomon and her group through that grant to pay for it, the treatment that we do has to be something they'll support. So if in the middle of that area where Mr. Turner owns some of that property, if they're not going to allow that in there, we can do something to help mitigate that phosphorus and under her grant. That's the whole purpose of it, was reduction of phosphorus. So we might still be able to do some of this stuff and utilize her grant to help do it.
When we were up there talking to Hillary and the engineer, they were pretty sure that if you didn't do the other two areas on Brad Turner's and on the other one, that what little bit of phosphorus reduction you'd get from putting a tank in on that edge, they weren't gonna cover it.
Okay, and that probably is the truth, or the ground truth reality that will be happening. Then we have to decide, the board has to decide what measures you want to take, because there's also, when Jeff and I went up there and looked, there's one culvert that's about midway on that crossover that's tilted the wrong way, and that's something the town can do.
And it goes uphill.
Yeah. And then there's the one that goes underneath the intersection of the crossover East Crystal Haven and West Crystal Haven at the stop sign, right in front of Tom Kearns' property. That one really needs to be replaced too. So there was 3 culverts that we found up there that the town could do, but I'm not sure how much money we're going to put into that right now until we have a solution, a viable solution, and see what the grant will pay. Because I don't think $70,000, $50,000 to $70,000 is not something that we budgeted for.
Why couldn't we just sleeve that culvert? That's a 12-inch culvert?
Yeah, yes.
It's big.
Yeah.
Can I jump in? Sorry, it's Brad.
Hold on, Brad, let Mark finish, please.
Okay.
Why can't we sleeve that culvert? I know they make almost like a funnel or something that goes on the end so it would seal up on the upwater side. If we could put a 10-inch sleeve in there, I know it would have to be scoped first. It's probably broken right where that bladder was installed in it. That could be dug up by hand to clear any of that culvert out to make a sleeve go through there. I mean, that would be a big start.
Yeah, if we are getting...
I have the answer for that.
And then grade the new section of road, redo that culvert that you spoke of,
Yep.
and grade it so the water doesn't run down the road, but runs into the drain on the north side of it.
Jeff and I talked about that. We're going to have to pitch that road so the water goes into the drain on the north side rather than private property on the south side. Yeah, so we've talked about all that, but it always comes back down to the point of the seawall.
Well, let's take first things one at a time. Mr. Turner, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I just add some more background. When we were out there with the engineer of the stone environment there, we talked to their engineer about the pipe and doing a sleeve. He said, no, the pipe is too badly damaged. I think somebody had mentioned that they'd actually scoped it, and if the pipe is in really bad damage, like you gotta change the whole pipe with the stone environment, that Brendan from Stone Environmental, he was saying. And he also recommended increasing the size of the pipe, making it bigger. I can't remember if he was recommending 24, and Tom was saying the wall isn't even 24, so that would be a problem. I'm not sure if he was recommending 24, thinking that that would be the capacity that he would need if he was doing all 3 of the projects that were on the table. And the other thing was there's currently sewer lines running in there. I'm not sure exactly where you're talking about putting this the basin tank in, but there are sewer lines that run down in there. So, you know, unless you're trying to put it where that ledge is currently exposed, there may be some ground that you can put it in there. What else was, trying to think what else was said that, yeah, oh, the other thing was, you know, I think we talked about last meeting, the other property owner and we are not, the proposals for these wet gravel lands are too big. No property owner wants to give up, you know, valuable land to do this. The other thing was, we were talking about we said, okay, so the gravel wetlands are out. For this basin, you definitely need something. I took water samples. I don't know, I think Hillary was gonna have one of her people up there with the approaching storms that were coming after our meeting and try to catch some more samples. But the sample that I captured back in, was at the end of June, which was like the last big storm we had, the phosphorus ratings were off the chart, right? We're talking like 1,400, I'm doing this off memory, 1,400 parts per billion. And she was saying like, you know, normally you would think of high stuff as in like 200 to 400 parts per billion, and most tributaries, I think she was quoting, like would be down in the 20s. So this thing is off the chart, and we said to her, might there be any potential that without the wetlands, you could get some sort of funding for this basin? It would at least do something rather than having those huge volumes run into, right into the lake. There's nothing being, there's no effort to control it right now. Something would be better than nothing. I thought she was saying they could try to make a proposal. It probably wouldn't go anywhere, but one of the other people that was there, Moore, had referenced trying to, you know, make some connections at the state level and try to get people's attention to it, just to maybe help get some funding for it. I don't know where any of those, I haven't heard from anybody since that meeting that day about this topic, but those are a couple of the key points.
Okay, Brad, thank you, Mr. Kerner. We are going to find out exactly what's wrong with that existing culvert. I've asked the town manager to find out from the gentleman or our staff member who scoped that where his data is and provide that data to the town manager and to myself. And if we can't find that or it's not conclusive, to get it rescoped so that we know exactly what we're dealing with that existing culvert. And short term, if we can patch that to make it function as it's supposed to, and then do something to keep the worst of it out of there prior to the engineers coming up with a plan that's workable, then we're going to consider doing that. At this point, we're not taking any action. We're just trying to find out what options we have. And
right. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you go ahead now. I'll give you a minute.
I was just going to say, that's fine. I just want to let you know that the opinion of the stone environmental engineer was that the pipe was toast, basically, and needed to get replaced. Sleeving it wouldn't be an option. That was his opinion. If you guys can find something better, you know, go to it. But that was what he had told us.
Well, Brad, I spent a lot of years doing stuff where it was important to know what you knew and what you thought. And at this point, we think the pipe is bad, but we don't know that. So we're gonna lay that to rest and find out for sure just what kind of shape that is in, and then make decisions based on what we know instead of what we think.
Didn't somebody already?
And he may be correct. I don't know. You know, we don't know that. That's what I'm trying to find out.
I thought somebody had referenced at that meeting that the pipe had been scoped. Somebody
had, but I don't have that conclusive data, and the town manager doesn't have that data, and I've asked the town manager to get that data, and if he doesn't, to have it rescoped so we have it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, that's our course of action at this point in time. So at this point in time, all we know for sure is that we don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fine. There's more questions to be answered, yeah.
So anything else from the board on this issue?
Nope.
Hearing none, we're going to move on.
Sorry, is anybody going to follow up with Hillary to see if there's any potential to try to get that catch basin, to try to make a proposal to get some state funding for it, since the levels are so off the chart?
Yeah, I spoke.
Sorry to cut you off, but Mark, can you fill us in your brief conversation with Hillary recently? Also, just so you know, Mr. Turner, Mark Brown and I went up there a couple of weeks ago and caught Hillary in the act of actually taking samples. So actually Mark helped her get the samples. So there's been new samples taken. I do not have any idea what the results are yet.
Okay, good. Good to know.
I did speak with Hillary, and she said there was a possibility that she would have some funding to put a structure in that corner. But at the same time, I'm looking at the report from our DPW foreman and the contractors that looked at it, although they were not civil engineers, they have decades and decades, probably combined 200 years of experience in real-world situations, and they all agree a catch basin didn't make any sense there. So we'll have to see. I think the first step is going to be to scope that pipe and see what we have, and we'll keep working backward until we have better results.
Okay, anything else on this? And we're going to move on to payment in lieu of taxes. Mike, you must have something to offer on that?
Yeah, it's just to bring to your attention, so payment in lieu of taxes, today, I reviewed it today with our accountant. The amount of money that we received from the state went down, which with the reappraisal and how the state reappraises it, I'm not shocked. But I got a call from the Fire District 1, who said, when is the town gonna send us our pilot money? And I'm like, I didn't know that we sent you pilot money. And so Joe showed me the university, there's a schedule for the university, has all the bathrooms and it lists the buildings. And I'm like, this doesn't say anything about the fire district though. But then you dig farther and we found another spreadsheet. And it says Castleton, Town of, Castleton Fire District Number 1 Incorporated. And their number was around $51,000 out of the $487,000, I think it was. So they've received it in the past, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. The last two, they didn't get anything. So now they're like, hey, where's our money? And I'm like, God, this is even though I signed a purchase order like 3 years ago, when Melanie was here as our accountant, there was no really explanation, I guess, about how this works. So they get money, the fire district gets money, just one, doesn't say anything about fire district number 3, that they get money from pilot that we're supposed to give to them. So we're like, why don't they send it to them directly? So these are questions that we're asking ourselves, and we're like, so I asked Joe to get a name of someone that we can contact at the State of Vermont Department of Taxes and walk us through this and why they don't send it to them directly. They're their own municipality.
Yeah, they have nothing to do with us.
But when we went back and looked, because they count stuff at the university, and I'm like, okay, I don't care. It's the fire districts, their infrastructure that runs through the university, and they base it on bathrooms and number of bathrooms in all these buildings. So I'm like, we have to get it resolved, but there potentially could be 2 years worth of pilot payments that we didn't give to the fire district, which means that there's $102,000 or so.
But the town did receive.
Correct. Yeah, we didn't, it doesn't break it down on the list. It just says A&R, one of them's A&R, which is the 2 fishing accesses, the wildlife management areas, and the state park. And then there's another one that's Kehoe Conservation Camp, and then there's the rest of it, the town itself. So just we're trying to run it to the ground. I just wanted to give you that pilot money is not all for us. And I'm not sure, 3 years ago we found where I signed a purchase order, but before that we haven't looked beyond that. For like 40, it was like for $40-something thousand.
Did you say it was Kehoe Conservation Camp?
Yeah.
I think they pay property taxes.
We get money for it.
I was just at our meeting and she said they showed us the list, the tax bill was like $16,000 and change to the town of Castleton.
That's because they have rental property on there, I think, Rob, that's what you're gonna look at. They have rental property on that same property.
Kehoe?
Yes. I believe that trailer that's up there. is rental property to them.
Rental property does change the status for tax exempt things, like the community
Well, the guy that
center.
runs the camp,
I think he lives there.
he lives there, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it falls under the state. But that's my understanding.
That wouldn't be
It
16,000.
wouldn't be 16,000 for a double wide trailer. Cause I saw the tax bill, cause I'm on the board for the conservation camp.
Yeah, but we get money for that, and we get money for Bird's Eye and Blueberry Hill wildlife areas, the two fishing accesses, the state park, and then
Glen Lake access?
what's that?
How about Glen Lake?
No. Nothing there for that. There's one other thing I'm missing, but
There should be property up behind Egan's farm.
There's
too.
Love's Marsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm missing, there's Love's Marsh and, the dam, the Hickory Dam, and one other dam, Pelletier
There's
Dam.
Fish and Wildlife property too behind Egan's between Egan's and Pines Pond.
I didn't see that in there, but the dam, where they took the dam out on East Auburn Road, and they put that wildlife management area, that little walk-in area, that's on it. They call it Pelletier Dam, I think is how they list it.
Well, the Glen Lake property is probably all part of the Bombazine State Park.
Yeah, I don't know, they just, Bombazine State
Pretty sure
Park,
that's correct, Mark.
it's not very much money, even the Bombazine State Park was like $16,000 or something, it was really not a lot of money.
I guess not. Well, they should at least provide a better spreadsheet of what they're paying for.
Yeah, I mean, when we found it today where it said clearly Fire District Number 1, that solved that mystery, and then we added up the two and made sure did it equal the check that we received, and it does, exactly. So we know that we're accurate in that. It's just why they don't bill them directly is a question I have, and try to get it resolved, see if they can. But it could be something where they're like, you owe us $102,000. Well,
We owe them $102,000.
yeah. Yep, so that's it, and.
So you're working on that, and you're gonna let us know.
Yeah. Yeah, and,
Fortunately, that won't drain our cash reserves, right, Mike?
no, I won't drain it, but it does give you a little bit of a gut punch, but.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to step out for a minute, so Bob, will you take over for a minute? We're gonna move on to the budget discussion for the draft budget.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Doing flutter kicks right now.
So Mike, is this an update that you handed us tonight?
It is, so I had to change, you'll see where the PD, one of the things that the select board had accepted was the COPS grant. So to be transparent about what that would look like, because that's a 3-year grant, and you divide 125 by 3, and you should get 42,6666666, you know, and so I added, or I put the COP, I'll tell you what page it's on.
Yeah, I'm gonna say,
Yeah, and
that was where you're at, man.
I'll lead you to the breadcrumbs here.
Page 6.
Yeah, starts on,
Page 6?
is it all on page 6? Yep. So sorry for the small print.
No, it starts on 5.
Yeah, the labor's at the very top. It starts on 5, the labor. So that's where I had to add in, what you don't see is all the individual tabs that have all the calculations, and for there's one for the transfer station, one for the PD, et cetera. And so when you add in the added person, their budget for personnel would go up 47, this is on page 6 at the top, in that kind of pinkish column on the right. So the COPS grant would push the salary increases to $47,155. That also takes into account removing the money for the part-timers. You see it, Rob, or no?
No.
Right, so I'm gonna hold mine up as show and tell.
Page 6?
Yeah, right here at the top.
Yeah.
There's a column on the far left side, it says total labor.
Total labor.
Far left, top quarter of the page. We're on page
Just
6.
under the double line.
You go, just slide your
left,
finger
that
to
gray
the,
line.
to the right.
Oh,
Total
yeah.
labor.
Yep, 47,355.
Yeah, so that takes into account the extra police officer, and it removes the part-timers, they won't need them. And that was part of what Pete said when he stood up here, is like, we're gonna get rid of the part-timers, now we'll have this extra officer. I also reduced the overtime from 75 hours to 60 hours, because that was also a statement that was made that it will reduce overtime. So with 5 officers on overtime, take that number out of there, it reduced the total down. And when they're on overtime, they're making that time and a half rate, so so you can picture it, it's like, we just reduced the budget with the part-timers and the overtime, and we still are not $47,000. That takes into account wages, the wage increases per their union contract, the 14% healthcare for half of the year and 5% for the other half of the year, or 6% for the other half of the year. So that's where those numbers come from. The benefits are lower, but the next block's down, but their union contract wages are in there. So that's the COPS grant. I just wanted to be, so you knew when that $125,000 is not figured in here. So $42,000 would come off this as revenue. So you can, whether you put it there or you put it against benefits, either way, it's only a total of $42,000. So in that same column, if you follow down to,
So this is a realistic number without the COPS grant, is what you're saying?
no, that's a realistic number. Yes, that's adding the extra officer, not removing taking out the money from the COPS grant. Yeah. Because that falls under revenue. So anticipated revenue, which is a whole,
Well, yeah, and we wouldn't want to, this would, if we keep going like this at the end of the COPS grant, it's not gonna look like a giant spike if we keep the officer on.
yeah, if you, after that 3rd year, 4th year, you keep them on, it's a spike right now. The big spike is right now because we added the extra person in there. Now, next year, they're already the base is already formed, the number, we're just adding their raises to it. So the big spike is this year. And then at the end of it, when there's no more grant money, the town will have to decide whether they're gonna keep the officer on or not. But if you slide down, on the left side of the column, it says total police department in gray, far left. Then, so the total budget for the police department, increase, and this is not, and again, this isn't changing a lot of the other stuff, like their small tools and equipment and operating supplies and such, et cetera. This was just primarily focused on wages and benefits. The total increase would be $85,755 over the previous year. And I probably should have stayed up top. You go where you just saw up top, where you saw the total labor, you drop down 1 row, and the number that's in there is 25,598. See that?
29,
25,900. Oh, sorry, it's right there.
but it's 29,500.
I can't read it, so
Okay.
it's 29. It's just too small for me to read.
I'm struggling too.
So that was the increase over the previous year, because you just picked up the healthcare for the officer, and Naj went from a family plan, 2-person plan to a family plan. So that increases it as well. So right now, the town share of a family plan is $42,000.
And the insurance kills us.
$42,000. That's 80% of the total cost.
Town share is $42,000, Mike, is that what you said?
For a family plan.
Family plan.
It's 30,300 and something for a 2-person plan, and almost 16,400 for a single person. So, that's why I pushed you guys to agree to $8,000 buyout, because it's an incentive, right? It's 8,000 versus 40.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So when we hire people, it's not just the wage that I look at. I'm like, how does their, we can't discriminate against people for being married or having children. But I just look at how it impacts the budget.
You can't put in a job description looking for single, unmarried, not wanting to get married.
Somewhere there's an ethics violation in there, Rob.
Not looking for insurance.
50-plus years old.
Looking for people who have
Retired.
special insurance.
On Social Security, Medicare. But, so that was just a PD. So what you have here in front of you is a budget that has taken into account, minus the library, I haven't done the library yet. It takes into account wage increases, cost of living increases. Remember, we use the end of November as our consumer price index mark, and we're not there yet. September's out, maybe October's posted today. When I did this last week, it was only through the end of September, and it was 3.2 for the Northeast, and we take 75% of that, so that comes out to be 2.4%. But it's trending, I think it's trending upward, so by the end of November, it could be higher than 3.2. And we end up paying we calculate 75% of that. So that impacts wages. So this can't really truly be finalized until after we have the consumer price index numbers, which we won't get until the middle of December, to be true and accurate. And that happens every year. Well, it had every year since we started using the consumer price index. So this takes into account benefits, wages. There's some things in the highway department I've already moved around based upon historical data, but I haven't really reviewed it with Jeff yet, and he's on vacation right now for a week. So that's just my starting point. And I think, just so it's on record, the page number towards the back, where the green line goes across the bottom. Page 15, I guess.
Page 15?
Page 15.
There's a green line.
Yeah. So right now, the increase over the previous year is $201,077, or a 4.6% increase. So that's the starting. If you look back, last year we had 4.2, and the previous year was 14.4. And historically, it hovers around 3 to 5%.
Just is what it is.
Wait, the healthcare,
That kills us.
over the last couple of years, they were 18% one year, 14%, and that drives up the cost a lot.
Predicting another big one next year.
I have a question for you, Mike, when you're ready.
I'm ready.
This also does not include the 3 budget articles that we had on last year's town meeting to increase or put extra funding in the reserve accounts for police, fire, and highway. Is that correct?
Fire, no, yeah.
It's just fire and highway.
Yeah, the 2 separate ballot articles.
Yes.
Yeah, this does not take into account that.
That does not include those, so.
Correct.
How much were they, do we recall? I don't recall off the top of my head.
Last year was 75 for the highway and 60, or 75 for the fire. I think it was 150 total. This year it was 60 for the fire department and 75 for the highway.
So those were separate ballot articles, and this budget does not reflect adding those in, which we were at least going to consider doing. So if we added those in, we'd be looking at more like a 9% raise or increase.
I could, off the top of my head.
High 8, low 9, somewhere in there.
I think it'd be over that, but
What?
I think it'd be over that. I can show you what that would look like on a separate.
Yeah, let's at least do that. Just throw that in the spreadsheet long enough to see what the numbers look like, and then share that with the board, please.
I will.
You can take it back out again for your worksheet. I just want to
I'd
see.
probably
what
put it
impact
back
that
to
would
separate
have.
ballot articles again.
Yeah, so there's a discussion here, Dick, about putting it back on as a separate ballot article, which but I'll do what you're asking. I'll put it on the spreadsheet so you can see the number, but I think that you might be hard pressed to push that through voters.
As much as I would hate to do that, I think that they can vote. Do you guys want to save money for a new truck and some new equipment, or do you not want to this year?
And paving was the other one.
And paving, yeah.
But if we put it in the budget and the budget fails.
In fact, including those in the current operating, or projected operating budget would be. And so you can, if you would put them in your spreadsheet and see what the impact is, and then take them right back out again, but share that with the board.
Yes.
So that we all have that knowledge.
I can do
And
that.
then we can make a decision going forward in the next meeting or two as to what direction we would like you to head in.
We got it.
Does that make sense, board? Do you agree with that?
Sure.
Yeah, we can look at it. Then we have the
And then-
information
then we can
anyway.
decide what course of action we think we want to take.
Yeah.
You know, we can't control, unfortunately, we can't control healthcare costs or cost of living, but, you know, at least we can pose the question to the voters in a way we deem appropriate, because it's ultimately their call.
Yeah, how,
Like Rob said, do you not want to buy new trucks, or do you not want to pave the roads, you know, or do you? And so we need to make sure that the voters and taxpayers understand what their ramifications of any decisions they make are.
okay. One of the, also is what, to market this so that people understand what they're voting on and they make a informed decision. Like you said, do you want to do this or you don't want to do it? Junky vehicles that don't work or whatever. But we paved this year on East Harbor Road, that was $477,000.
Yeah. How many miles, 2?
Almost 3.
Yeah.
And we need to do 3 a year to keep up with our
Yeah.
current. And that 475 had a little bit of extra because we milled and it was a little thicker in some areas, but not a very small stretch. But we only put 240,000 that's in here. That's all we put in a year. So in a 2-year period, let's just say it's 250, well, for ease of math, that's $500,000. That's what we'd have in there, and that gets us less than 3 miles.
And that's over a 2-year period, right?
That's,
Yeah.
Right, so we'd be doing a mile and a half a year.
You'd be doing a mile and a half a year.
Yeah, so you're not getting your 3 miles a year. Okay,
And-
the voters need to know that.
Yeah, and we're looking at some of these roads that we went out and assessed them, and there are some roads that are, within 5 years, are gonna be to a point where if we don't, because we're crack sealing the living bejesus out of them.
yeah, you gotta do what you can do to make it
And
last
keep them
as
together,
long as
but they're just,
possible.
when you see more crack sealing in the road than you see clear asphalt, that's a telltale sign that, time to do something, and we have some roads like that right now. But we're struggling to get around to grade the roads twice a year right now. So, you know, if the paved roads start becoming an issue, and we're not even putting a lot of effort into those because they're staying intact, but once they start falling apart, it's gonna become one of those chasing potholes all the time. So,
But we're not putting effort into those roads because we've done a fairly adequate job maintaining them and keeping them up. And I think the residents here have become accustomed to that, and that's an expectation on their part. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to adequately fund it. So, there you have it.
yeah, there's always gonna be complaints, and we have a 3-man crew. You know, so they do what they can. I mean, I've had people ask me to chase a truck, go all the way up to Cedar Mountain and put a load of gravel and spread some around, and I can only take 5 minutes. Nothing takes 5 minutes.
Takes 10 minutes to drive up there, Mike.
And then you gotta go load it, and then you gotta do, nothing's 5 minutes. But they're out there, they're grading. This is another issue. We had to pull Heath in from the transfer station to grade. Because Evan was on vacation, and Evan's the mechanic, and he's our only grader operator within the highway department. We've got to groom somebody new, and that's a process, because they can destroy a road very easily if they don't know what they're doing with that grader.
And destroy a very expensive piece of equipment very easily too, that we're trying to make last another 30 years.
So there's all kinds of, it's not excuses, it's just, these
Challenges.
are impediments and challenges, yeah, exactly.
Well, it's tough, there's only so much tax people want to pay, or can pay,
Yeah.
and inflation is horrible.
At least the price of fuel's down. I look historically back at what we were spending for fuel oil and diesel fuel, and the prices it was up to almost $4.50 a gallon like, back in, 4 years ago. And so now we're down to $2.65 a gallon. So that's, but when I keep lowering the budget and then the price goes back up, then it's almost like if you could just keep like $3.50 in there, try to keep it steady, it's easier for people to swallow rather than these big swings up and down.
Big spikes, yep.
All right.
Anything else on the budget?
No, I'm good. No, I'm good, I mean.
And we're gonna move on to manager's report. Mike, you're up again.
Yeah.
Take a breath, Mike, take a breath.
Yeah. There's only a few big highlights on here. I gave you a copy of an email that I got back from Aldrich and Elliott about Casella Construction. Did you see that? There's one of those I just handed out to you.
I have not, Mike.
Okay. That's not it.
They're still on board?
Yeah, so basically, he said, yes, they're on board.
Sounds their name and something.
There's a copy of a contract. What did I do with mine? I don't know. I probably gave it to you, Bob.
You gave it to me, I think. Is this what you're looking for?
Here, you want this?
Yeah,
Contract?
that contract, yeah, so I don't need it, no, but.
You don't need it?
No, so that's the contract I gotta review, to get them on board to, move this thing forward so that project for the depot terrace can continue to move along like the amoeba that it's been. But it was good that they're still on board with it. I was hoping they would come back and say that. The main pump, I'm on page number 11 of the report. I had 3 quotes to fix the roof at the main pump station, but I never got a reply back on whether or not one of the vendors would change their quote to not remove the shingles and just scrap it and put the metal over the top of it. So I'm waiting for that to come back, so that there's three bids. I think it's gonna come in around, oh, I probably shouldn't say that. I'll just say that it'll be less than $10,000, let's put it that way.
Oh, your bids are gonna be $9,999.
No, yeah, that's why I say you don't say, but they're all local too, so they're able to actually go and look at it, so that's good. So, big news in the town of Castleton. Big news is we got a crack, two big cracks, long cracks, not wide, but big, long, at the new salt shed. So I reached out to Bud Carpenter, who was the general contractor, and then I got a visit today from Myron White, and he went and looked at it too, and he's like, this is very common for a long, really long wall like that when it dries and the concrete shrinks up, that you're gonna get some cracks. And I'm like, I'm worried about water getting in there, freezing, this freeze-thaw cycle. And he said, I don't think you're gonna have any issues. And I said, can we fill it? And hydraulic cement would be the way to do it. And he said, I don't know if I'd do it right now, because it's still gonna shrink. It's still, he goes, wait till the spring and get through the cycle with this thing. It's gonna shrink some more.
You haven't heard from Bud?
No, he wrote back to me and said, I reached out to Myron, he'll be contacting me
Okay, so
today.
he sent Myron over.
So we got the two long walls have vertical cracks that go all the way through from inside to the outside, and then there's a couple on the back side. So if you're up in that area,
Go check it out, yeah.
You can go inside. It's on each side of about halfway down on each side of the building. And so according to Myron, that he said I wouldn't do too much about it right now. He said it's double rebarred. He goes, they ain't gonna go anywhere. They don't worry about that. It's gonna bow in and do that stuff. But I'm just saying.
So it's on a 4-foot frost wall on a footer?
Yeah, well, I don't believe they put a 4-foot frost wall in. They told us we don't need a 4-foot frost wall. I think it's a 3-foot frost wall. I think that's what the specs on that thing said. Don't let me verify that, but I think it was because we asked for a 4-foot frost wall, and they said you don't need a 4-foot frost wall up here for that. 3-foot.
Maybe we did.
What's that? Yeah, yeah. Well, we haven't had any cold weather to really push the ground, and we have the ground heave at all. It's, so Myron said it's the concrete, as it dries, it shrinks, and you got such a long run, that he said it's pretty normal. And I'm thinking in my head, I don't know, if it was my house, I probably wouldn't think that way. I'd be like, hey, I want that fixed. But, if I paid all that money for it. So, more to follow. I haven't talked to Bud yet, because he's in Florida, so it was an email he sent me. So, but Myron did come visit me today.
That's a good thing.
And, I mean, he does this for a living, so he's a pretty straight shooting guy. I don't think he's trying to pull the wool over my eyes, but.
I can assure you he's not, yeah.
I just want to bring that to your attention.
We just need to make sure it doesn't leak water.
Well, that's why I think I just want to get the hydraulic cement, even if in the spring it heaves a little bit more and opens up, that, at least for the winter, we've stopped the moisture from getting in there. And that's and salt from the inside, so that salt's not getting into it too. Because once salt's in there, I mean, I don't think they're gonna be out there with pixie sticks or something, pull the salt out of it, so.
Something, even if they tarred it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, why couldn't it be tarred on the outside?
We could tar it, there's a lot we can do with it. So that's what I wanna have Jeff do, is get it sealed up so that for the winter, we don't get stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then we'll see, if it opens up to be this big, huge crack in the spring.
Then we got a problem.
I think we got big problems, because there's so much rebar in that wall. And you're looking at the thickness of the wall, looking down on it, there's rebar on the inside and the outside, doubled. So he said with push walls, you want the inside to be really, when there's forces exerting on it, you don't want it doing this. He said, so it's double rebar. He said that it's overkill on it, but it should stop any kind of flexing of it. And then the Stubbins Electric was there today, and I wasn't there, but I got a report from Myron, who was there, and said, they're drilling a whole new hole through your wall. I'm like, what? We had Myron put the pipe in there so that we had for the conduit for the electrical, and because they paved up to there, they went on the south side facing Atticus, and they were putting a new hole through it, and they're like hitting rebar, and Myron's like, they're offset too. He said, so if you're drilling here and you don't hit it, you're probably gonna hit in the back. And so they were putting a new hole through the wall for the electrical, but they're up there. We rented a lift from Wanger Railing to put up the lights. So those started today. And once they're done, the lights are in, they're gonna, Wilkes will be back in the spring to put their top coat on. They said, don't put it all in right now, put the trucks drive over it, and then we'll see if you got any kind of heaving and stuff, and we'll deal with it in the spring, then we'll top coat it. So, part of it was done. And Wilkes held their price, to put that top coat on, so. That's the report on the salt shedding. Any questions on that? I'm on page number 13. The trackless, the PTO's down on that. So I called Donnie Proctor today, and he just happened to be in Fairhaven at his house, and he went out to look at it. And I'm like, I don't believe that we have to transport this thing to Rhode Island or someplace to get a PTO fixed. There's plenty of tractors have PTOs, and so I just said I really want him to look at it, and he said, I'll take a look at it. If I don't have an answer, I can help you find someone to get an answer. But they called Champlain Valley, I guess, and they said that they're not working on it. So he found some place down in New York, and I'm like, before we load this thing up and trailer it all over the place, let's see if we can do something local. They said Avalanche won't touch it. So I know one guy that would, but I don't think he's insured. So probably shouldn't have been on that road. So he's
About the truck, the 6,500.
2 weeks, still at that point.
It'll be done in 2 weeks?
They keep saying, every time we ask them, they say 2 weeks. Ever seen that movie, The Money Pit?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Mike, give me a call tomorrow. I got a guy that we've used up in Addison County that does mobile farm equipment repair. They've been really good.
Okay.
Remember Carol Beeman?
I do, I don't care.
His son.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Thank you. So East Harbor Road is done, they're still shouldering that, that's been a really slow process, and that, they're using that new tandem with a chute on the side, so, but they're working, they said it'll be done this week. I hope so, because one of our employees is off next week too, the main guy. Crystal Beach, they found that, well, I'm on page number 17. Crystal Beach, the wall, I guess the east wall of the snack shack is disconnected from the floor, from the concrete pad. And that's why they couldn't open, the locks were all jammed up. Well, they punched it back in, got it plumb, and it opens up. So I told them, just go down to Gilmore's, talk to them, get the stuff they need to secure the wall back, and they're gonna work on that. So that, because they took one of the locks off it, the deadbolt, thinking that it was something wrong in there, but it wasn't. It's the wall. So, on page number 18, luckily we're not doing meetings at the fire station because the internet and Wi-Fi's out, and I got Comcast there trying to figure that out. And our Comcast and our IT folks. And I think that's it. Yep. I skipped a couple things, but I think we've already talked about them.
Mike, you might want to mention the most recent news on the sidewalk project down street, that we have the authorization from the state to include the lighting in the scope of work.
I haven't seen that. That's news. You do get something?
Yeah, I got an email this afternoon, the evening, just before the meeting.
Oh, sorry, that's because I haven't looked at my email.
I won't pretend to remember all the details, but authorization to include that in the scope of work for the sidewalk projects was received from the state, and Nydia sent an email out saying that she would include that and get with our engineering firm to proceed.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so happy for that.
So I consider that very good news.
Yeah, we'll have to go up to the university and collect money from students to help pay for it.
Yeah.
Oh, so just so the students are aware, South Street, when you walk down South Street towards Main Street by the Jeffords, that sidewalk is all humped up concrete. That's gonna be a new sidewalk next summer. And then the project that Mr. Combs was talking about is for Main Street. So they're gonna, the plan is to put concrete sidewalks from Glenbrook Road all the way down to the store with lighting and all this stuff. So if you're walking in the mud and dirt, hopefully it won't be for much longer. At least on South Street, it'll be next year. The other one might be a couple more years, but yeah, that's awesome news. Thanks for sharing it, Dick.
You're welcome.
Nice work on that, Mike.
I didn't think they'd ever approve it, but
I considered it a long odds, but it seems to be coming to pass, so now all we gotta do is figure out how to pay for it, right?
yeah, we got some paying to do. No, yeah. And
All right, where's my agenda? There it is.
who stole my, there it is.
All right, we're gonna move on to purchase orders. Rob, do you have the purchase orders?
I don't.
There was, I handed them
Mr.
out.
Spalding, would you hand Rob the red folder?
Right there.
Oh, okay, will do.
But
On top of that red folder, there should be 2 purchase orders.
There is something on top of the red
so,
folder.
just so you're aware, in your packet, or not in your packet, the stuff I put in your desk, there should have been a new set of, Penny added something to it, or I think. She was going to, but then she said, oh, maybe I won't. So, you didn't get them in your packet. So you should have a copy now I put on your desk.
I got them tonight.
Yeah.
What did she add? Did she add a warrant or a purchase order?
I think she was gonna change the warrant, but then she came back and said, maybe I'll do it next time. So I don't know if she ended up doing it or not. So if, whatever is, this right here, the one you got in your packets, or on your table, that is the right one. or correcting.
Mike, I think I'm gonna let these guys go at this point.
You don't want to do warrants?
Pretty interesting.
They asked what the warrants were, like, there's the other kind too, but, so you'll be good to chat, Wednesday morning, maybe 10:30-ish?
Correct.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Appreciate you indulging us again.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Would you say hello to your father?
I definitely will.
We started first grade together.
Yeah.
Two of us in a one-room
So,
schoolhouse.
he's gotta stop falling on his head and stuff. He's been wrecking himself a little bit.
So you knew about that.
Great seeing you
I
all.
started
Thank you
school
again.
you and I was held back 6 years.
All right, we ready? Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 054709 to Pump Control Solutions for the repair at the Sucker Brook Pump Station for the sum of $4,392.50.
Second?
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 054805 to Rutland Region Planning Commission for our annual dues for the fiscal year 25-26 for the sum of $4,458.
Second?
Any discussion?
I just had a statement if I could. That increased to our census population. So it used to be a really low number, but then they came back and said that they asked for the census stuff, so that's where that number, that 4,000, we have 4,458 people in town, it's $1 per person. That's it, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So, Bob, would you take those two original purchase orders from Rob and initial them and date them, please?
I can do that. With my initials or your initials?
Your initials, you're there.
Yeah.
Then we can proceed with warrants at your convenience, Mr. Steele.
Make a motion to approve warrant number 1110R for the sum of $700. Warrant number 1107 for the sum of $45,242.42. Warrant number 1110 for the sum of $589,450.16. Warrant number 1030P for the sum of $20,686.64. And warrant number 1106P for the sum of $21,273.35.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Select board comments. Mary Lee?
We're running right on time, let's go.
Mark?
Yeah, I have a couple. The first comment I want to make is, it's really dismaying if you read the local papers and see some of the other municipal boards, that I'm not going to name, that seem to get partisan politics over good public policy. And it's more common than it should be. And I'm just really thankful I get to serve with this board and this town manager where we don't do that. We may not always agree, but we discuss things and we put good public policy ahead of our own personal politics. And when we walk out of this room, all our work is done, our decisions have been made, and it always, what's the right thing for the community and what's the right thing for the taxpayer? And that doesn't happen everywhere. I'm really, really happy that we get that done here.
Well said, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Absolutely.
The other comments I have, we've been talking about public comments, and sometimes they get long, and I think that it would behoove us to have a policy that limits them. And I did some research on this. Vermont League of Cities and Towns has a couple-page document that relates to it, because the legislature says you have to give adequate time for public comments, but it doesn't say what adequate is. But the league is quite clear that they know that select boards have a full agenda, and ours typically goes till 11 o'clock, and it doesn't have room for 15 minutes on one public comment. And I think that we're gonna need to limit it to 2 or 3 minutes, or if there's a really big decisive issue, a total of 30 minutes. People are always welcome to write comments to the town manager and have them included in our packets. And the other thing is, public comments should be about items that the select board can act on. So if someone wants to come and say, hey, the cars are going too fast on my road, that's something we can talk to the police department about. But if they want to come and tell us they enjoy Crystal Beach, that's nice, but they shouldn't tell us about the whole picnic they had, you know, what they had for dinner. We have to keep a limit on that, because we have a lot of work to do and our meetings go long. So that's just a suggestion. It's completely up, according to the league, it's completely up to the chairman to set whatever standards we want to have. I certainly want to hear, we're public servants, people have public comments, we need to hear them, but we need to make sure that they're relevant to this board, and we need to make sure that they're done in a short enough time period so it doesn't wreck our agenda. And then if it requires being on agenda in a future meeting, we can do that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Does to me.
I'm kind of wondering if on the agenda where we have public comments, if it should say 2-3 minutes in parentheses.
I think it
Or
should
something along those lines. I'll come up with some ideas on that, Mark, and run them by you and the rest of the board at the next meeting, and we'll come up with a plan on that, because I agree with what you're saying. It is important that we stay focused on our business, and also that whatever comes up as public comments is something that we can actually act on. So with that in mind, I think I'll give that some thought and see what I can come back to the board with that makes sense.
I'll forward the 2 pages that the league has on it to you.
That would be excellent. Thank you, Mark.
I think I've seen
Anything else?
I think I've seen in Fairhaven's minutes where they limit them to 2 minutes per.
Yeah, I just recently watched one of their meetings, and they don't let any moss grow.
I have 2 other things I want to mention. I noticed there's the crosswalks up by the university. There's no signs that point those crosswalks out. I think there used to be. They probably got moved to a dorm room. But in any case, you know, if you're not familiar with that area, the kids do not hesitate and looking at the cars are coming. They just walk out in the road.
No, heads down. No.
Heads down on their phones, They walk across the road, and you can't see the crosswalk. So I think those signs would be a good idea. And the last thing is just to mention one more time that land up on Crystal Heights. At the end of that, I think it would be worth us getting that looked at to say, hey, there's 1, 2, if there was a sewer line up there, there's 1, 2, 3, 5, however many potential lots that are up there that could turn into, I mean, if there's 5 lots up there with lake views.
Could help offset the cost of the sewer line project.
By a couple $100,000 or more.
I apologize. I had made a note to reach out to Sergeant's Appraisals, because I talked to Mary Jo, and it's really not really, she didn't feel comfortable with that. So reaching out to somebody like Sergeant's Appraisals, who does lands appraisals, would probably be a good start. If it's under $2,000, I can just go ahead and get it done. At least you'll have something back. If it's more than that, I'll bring it back to you and say, you want to spend the money?
Can I just ask, that if you're looking to develop that area, you also think about stormwater management. That area is designated in the computer models that Stone Environmental marks out to drain into that east-west Crystal Haven area. Rob, you were there, and Mark, you guys were there. I don't think it really does drain into that area. That day we were there, we're talking about it, but the models have it draining into that area. And I think it's just good practice anyway.
For sure.
any development has to deal with stormwater management.
Noted.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mark?
No, I'm all done.
Rob?
I've got something, but I think it needs to be an executive session.
Okay, Bob?
Just in regards to the sidewalks up to the college, we have talked about that several times. What is the issue with putting up the signs that all the other colleges that I go to, and I go to a lot of them, when they can push the button? Now, I know you're gonna say, oh, the kids aren't gonna push the button.
I know what you're talking about.
But.
I wasn't gonna say
Well,
that.
well, somebody would have on the board. That could get your attention when you, all of a sudden you see the yellow lights start flashing, like, oh Jesus, somebody must be there, because they pushed the button, you know? I don't understand what the issue is with the college getting
Kids
that.
aren't gonna push the button anyway.
Well, I just said that.
There's, part of that project for the pedestrian accessibility is those rapidly rotating flashing beacons. That's part of that,
But I've heard that for a couple, 3 years. I mean.
well, it's part of the, we haven't got to the build part yet.
We could hire a crossing guard.
Well, what they do make is that, you know, I'll look at the price, but they do make, ones that have solar on them. And so the sign's there, and then there's just like LED lights that go around the outside of the sign, and they'll flash. They'll flash, you know, at night, but they don't flash during the day.
While we're flashing, Rice Willis flashing sign is not working, at least Thursday and Friday of last week, because I take the kids to school that way.
Where, Rice Willis?
The Four
Rice
Corners?
Willis.
She's talking about the Four Corners?
Oh, Browns?
No, it's.
In Blissville.
No. There's a, you're going too fast sign.
Oh.
It's not working.
Oh, the radar machine.
There you go.
Because it's been cloudy.
How fast were you going?
Here we go! Here we go.
Is this one of the, not
I
one of
don't
the new
know,
ones?
it didn't tell me.
Is this one of the portable ones on a trailer?
It's
on a cart.
just a portable.
Oh, yeah. Those damn, yeah, I'll check it out. The batteries on those things are crap, so they just haven't put any money into them. But when it's not a lot of sunlight, it doesn't charge them enough. The one at the garage was doing the same thing. I'll note it to Pete, but. Well, if it's the radar cart ones, they're taking those down anyway. They're putting them up for the winter. They don't keep them all the winter.
Anything else for select board comments?
Just one last thing. I'm a little irritated by that. You're gonna look into the price of the crosswalks? It's up to the college. We talked about this before.
Yeah, I was saying, if you want to know what it costs to put one in, because they're not going to pay for it, I'll guarantee it.
Not your wallet, Mike.
Oh, look at that, Mary Lee, what are you doing? Pickpocket.
I just don't agree with that, because if the college wasn't there wouldn't be sidewalks. The college needs to foot half the bill anyways.
Well, there is in the minutes somewhere, I'll have to go back and look for it. When we talked about those signs that flash,
Yeah.
they did say that they would pay a portion of those, like split the cost. Somewhere it's in the minutes. Remember having that conversation?
That was probably Castleton State College, though.
Yeah, it was
Not the Vermont State
probably like 4
University.
or 5 years ago.
It's the safety of their students.
Yeah. Well, we pay do the crosswalk. We paint the crosswalks.
We
It's
shouldn't be
crappy
doing
as
that
they look.
either.
They're like this way and that way.
Just don't agree with that.
We'll tell them if they don't put signs up, we're gonna stop painting crosswalks.
Well, that's when we paved that up through there, we were like, well, that's a great time. We did talk to the university buildings folks and said, we can stamp them and they won't fade out for that year. And they didn't want to pay the cost because it's more expensive to do it.
Now, a couple of them have the double lights at the entrances of those are nice. They just need to do that farther up at the next intersection where the side Glenbrook comes out there.
All right, I'll make,
Just, come on, guys.
Anything else for select board comments? Rob, do we have anything to sign in that blue folder?
And the blue one?
I don't think we had it.
I don't think so. It doesn't look it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think we would, but that's what that blue folder is usually that's the stuff we have to sign.
You sign all that, Mary Lee? Is it back over here?
Yeah, it's back in there.
Okay, all right.
The warrants are all signed?
Yep.
Okay.
Dick, you want me to bring those to your house? You want to sign the warrants? I can bring them over to your house.
I don't think that's really necessary. The accountant needs at least 3 signatures, he has them.
Okay, good to go.
Not worth the trip. I mean, if you're coming over for something else, you can bring them, but I wouldn't worry about it. Action items? Okay, hearing none. Do we need an executive session, Mr. Town Manager?
Yes, I think there's 2 that the board members need, and I had one for personnel. Mine's on personnel.
So we need, Rob, you got your verbiage?
Yep. I move to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the personnel matter at hand will put the board at a substantial disadvantage because of the sensitive nature of the issue. Do we need to make a...
Second?
I'll second it. Somebody will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I did.
I move that we enter into executive session to discuss the personal matter under provisions of Title I, Section 313A1A of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're in executive session.